When we talk about stability for children and young people in care, we often talk about placements. And of course, placement stability matters a lot. But stability is bigger than where a child sleeps. A child experiences stability through the adults around them, the carers, the caseworkers, the residential staff, the school, the clinicians, the cultural supports, the team leaders, the people who notice patterns, remember decisions, follow things up, and make sure plans don't drift. That adult network really matters, because for a child or young person who's already experienced instability, the system around them becomes part of the environment that they have to live inside. If that adult system is calm, consistent, coordinated, the child feels that. If the adult system is stretched, reactive, fragmented, or constantly changing, the child feels that too. Maybe they don't describe it or see it in those words, but they feel it. And this is one of the reasons that I care so much about team leader burnout, because team leaders are not just managing staff. They're often holding the conditions that allow the team around the child to stay steady. They help decisions get made. They help staff process pressure. They help risks get escalated. They help communication to keep moving. They help turn concern into action. They help stop drift. They help the team remember what matters when the week gets crazy. And that work's not always visible. It doesn't always show up neatly in a report, but when it's missing, people feel it. Staff feel less contained. Decisions take longer. Follow-up becomes patchier. Communication gets messier. The team becomes more reactive, and the child or young person can end up experiencing the downstream effect of that instability. The child or young person can end up experiencing the downstream effect of that instability. Again, this is not about blaming team leaders. It's about recognizing how important their role is. And if we want children and young people to experience stability, then the adults around them need enough stability to provide it. And there's no way this happens by accident. A child doesn't experience workforce instability as an abstract organizational issue. They experience it as another new person, another changed plan, another meeting that doesn't lead to anything that they can feel, another adult asking them to repeat their story, another delay, another promise that doesn't quite land, another period where the adults seem unsure who is doing what. They may not know the reason. They may not know that a team leader is off on stress leave. They may not know there are vacancies, workload pressures, decision bottlenecks, or a team running on fumes. They just experience the result. The adults are less available. The follow-through is less reliable. The plan feels less real. The team around them feels less steady. And for children who have already experienced broken trust, that matters a whole lot. Because every gap can confirm an old belief. Adults leave. Plans change. No one stays. No one really knows me. I have to look after myself. That's why stability is not just about logistics. It's relational. It's developmental. It's therapeutic. It's the ground underneath everything else that we're trying to do. Now, team leaders are not the only piece. Of course they're not. There's carers, there's practitioners, there's clinicians, there's managers, teachers, kin, family members, cultural supports, and many others who matter deeply. The team leaders often sit in a crucial holding role. They're close enough to the front line to understand the pressure, and senior enough to influence decisions, escalation, rhythm, and team culture. They're often the person that staff look to when things get hard. They're the person who helps make sense of messy information. They're the person who notices when a pattern is emerging. They're the person who says, this needs to move, or we need to slow down, or who owns the next step, or what does this child need from us right now. And that role is critical, but it's also vulnerable. Because if everything depends on the team leader being available, calm, clear, and able to keep absorbing pressure, then the system is fragile. One exhausted leader should not be the structure holding the whole team together. The rhythm needs to hold more. The team needs to hold more. The system needs to hold more. So if you're a senior leader, regional director, child protection manager, residential care manager, foster care agency manager, or someone in clinical governance, this is the question that I would sit with. How stable are the adults around the child? Not just on paper, but in practice. Do they know what decisions have been made? Do they know who owns the next step? Do they have rhythms for raising concerns early? Do they have space to debrief after pressure? Do they have enough leadership support to stay steady? Do they have team leaders who can think, not just react? Do they have enough continuity to follow through? Because children and young people don't just need good intentions. They need adults who can keep showing up with enough consistency to be trusted. And that requires leadership stability. Not perfect leadership, not heroes, but robust leadership, supported leadership, leadership with rhythm around it. When the adults around the child are unstable, everything becomes harder. School connection becomes harder. Mental health support becomes harder. Behaviour support becomes harder. Family work becomes harder. Cultural planning becomes harder. Placement stability becomes harder. Even the best plan can lose power if a team around it is too stretched to carry it. That's not because the people involved don't care. Most people in this work care deeply, but care under constant pressure can become reactive. Care without rhythm can become scattered. Care without support can become burnout. And burnt out systems struggle to provide the kind of stability that our kids need. And that's the uncomfortable truth. The hopeful part is that we can strengthen the adult system around the child. We can support team leaders before they burn out. We can build better rhythms for decisions, debriefs, escalation, follow-up, and team communication. We can create space for leaders to notice patterns before they become crises. We can make sure the team is not relying on one person to remember every detail, hold every emotion, and catch every loose end. We can build teams that are steadier because the leadership around them is steadier. It's very practical. It starts with things like daily anchors, weekly resets, clear buffers, cleaner decision pathways, better debrief rhythms, and more predictable access to leadership. Now, those might sound small or like little throwaways, but small rhythms, repeated consistently, are often what stops systems from drifting. And drift is one of the most subtle risks in child protection. Stability for children and young people is built through the adults around them, not just through one placement, not just through one plan, not just through one meeting, through the repeated experience of adults who know them, remember them, follow through, communicate clearly, and keep showing up. Team leaders have a crucial role in making that possible. So when we support team leaders, we're not just supporting a workforce role, we're strengthening the adult network around the child. And that is so important because children and young people in care deserve more than adults with good intentions. They deserve adults and teams with enough stability to keep showing up. And if you want to see how we support team leaders to build that stability inside the Leadership Lab, details are in the description.